Welcome to the CUNA News Weekly Wrap-up for August 28th through September 1st. Here's what's been going on this week and what we're looking forward to in September. We start our rundown of stories by meeting Tim Antonician and learning what it's like being the CEO of $8.7 billion asset Space Coast Credit Union in Melbourne, Florida. We'll also look at how credit unions can continue to build membership during a down economy and widespread financial challenges. Stay tuned as we examine CEO coaching, take a fresh look at Silicon Valley Bank, and dive deep into interchange on the CUNA News podcast. Before we dive deep into each story, if you're a Credit Union Magazine subscriber, visit news.cuna.org to see web versions of the best stories from the fall issue. And of course, keep an eye out for the print edition. All right, let's start our rundown by stories by meeting Tim Antonician and learning what it's like being the CEO of $8.7 billion asset Space Coast Credit Union in Melbourne, Florida. Visit news.cuna.org to read about his tenure at Space Coast, his leadership philosophy, keys to growth, and the qualities of a top-notch CEO. Next, let's look at what a recent CUNA Council's white paper has to say about credit union membership and the economy. Credit unions historically gain members with low rates, broad product offerings, and individualized service. But what happens during an economic downturn? Credit unions experiencing tough times can attract younger members, adopt new business services, and ramp up their lending efforts. Some credit unions examine mergers or bank acquisitions as a growth strategy, seeking to gain scale through strategic partnerships with like-minded organizations serving similar communities. Mergers don't guarantee success, according to the white paper, which suggests credit unions looking into such a growth strategy should conduct due diligence and define the outcomes the credit union expects to gain. What are the KPIs, benchmarks, and timelines? It's also suggested to take a multi-stakeholder approach and map out the potential impacts to all stakeholders, maintaining transparent and strategic communications with members. Choose merger partners wisely and take the time to conduct thorough due diligence. Credit unions need to approach mergers with caution. CU Collaborate founder and CEO Sam Brownell says, members of smaller credit unions most often benefit, but strategic changes within a credit union are as likely to improve members' lives as mergers. This week on the CUNA News podcast, we look at interchange from multiple angles. Jason Sturrock, CUNA's Deputy Chief Advocacy Officer, gives an overview of the Credit Card Competition Act and its potential impact on credit unions. In short, the bill would harm both consumers and the banking system, with small local community financial institutions bearing the brunt. The CUNA League advocacy team is actively addressing this threat. Not only would the legislation affect credit unions operationally, it would hinder their ability to use interchange revenues to assist their communities. Mike Lee, President and CEO at KCT Credit Union in Elgin, Illinois, shares how KCT boosts the local school district with interchange income from Affinity, Purchase, Secured, and other cards. Interchange revenue makes these cards possible because the credit union charges no fees for them. Here's a clip of the podcast episode.
Bill, one of the challenges at credit unions is we live on a very small ROA. So when you look at my balance sheet, a typical credit union lives off of less than 1% ROA. So sometimes because of that, we have to get very creative in how we can give back to the community. So early on in my tenure here, we saw cards as a way to support our community through a couple different tools.
Joining Lee are Keith Sias from the Illinois Credit Union League and CUNA's Richard Goes. That's a big helping of what we've been up to this week. For more, visit news.cuna.org to read about CEO coaching, Silicon Valley Bank, and more. Now, over to CUNA Senior Editor of Public Affairs Communications, Alex McVeigh, for a look at what's happening in Washington, D.C.
The voting period for the proposed CUNA-NAFCU merger is officially open. Ballots can be submitted before 5 p.m. Eastern on November 1st. Members should check to ensure they've received the electronic ballot, and information on voting, dues structure, and more can be found at cuna.org/merger. NAFCU Chair Gary Grinnell and CUNA Chair Lisa Ginter spoke this week to CU Today on their goals for America's credit unions, while CUNA President and CEO Jim Nussle and NAFCU President and CEO Dan Berger also spoke on the merger during a conversation hosted by the African American Credit Union Coalition. We also sent our latest August recess message to Congress this week. In it, CUNA Board Chair Lisa Ginter explains that people and communities are at the heart of who credit unions are and what they do.
Thanks, Alex. Our credit union of the week is Fort Community Credit Union. The $351.4 million asset credit union in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin, was founded in 1940 when employees of Mo Light pooled their paychecks together. Now, Susan Johnson serves as president and CEO of the credit union, which serves 22,000 plus members, with membership open to anyone living or working in Dane, Dodge, Jefferson, Rock, Walworth, and Waukesha counties. Learn more at www.fortcommunity.com. Send your credit union's information to bfritz@cuna.coop if you want to be included in a future episode. Finally, this week in credit union history, on August 30th, 2007, the National Credit Union Share Insurance Fund increased the standard maximum share insurance coverage for credit union members from $100,000 to $250,000 per share account. Next week, take a look at generative artificial intelligence, high-tech, high-touch, and more to kick off our September-long focus on technology. Other events coming soon are CUNA's Credit Union Board Roundtable in Chicago on September 9th through 10th, and National Hispanic Latino Heritage Month from mid-September to mid-October. All right, that's it for this week's wrap-up. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend. To stay up to date on these stories and more, subscribe to Credit Union Magazine, visit news.cuna.org, and listen to the CUNA News podcast at news.cuna.org/podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the description for links to everything discussed in this video.